Y'all dated for a decade?
Yeah.
Dang.
We have 4 kids together.
Cool. Okay.
And this was his, okay, so I found messages to his ex, that is his high school sweetheart.
Why do so many men do this? Why are there so many men, specifically men, and I'm not saying it's only men that cheat, but this is a very specific thing. There are so many men that will leave their marriages, their wonderful wives, happy families, children, dog, house, cars, everything that they have, this beautiful life that they've created, right? Their family, they'll leave that, they'll fuck that up, they'll risk that for some cheap validation from their high school sweetheart. What is the obsession with the high school sweetheart? I think that the majority of these men are insecurely attached and they never emotionally matured. Their emotional growth was stunted at that place. So if you think about having a relationship in your formative years, when you're like 16 years old, those are your formative years. You're starting to mature, you're starting to grow into yourself, right? And you get into a relationship with someone and it's probably like your first relationship, your first love. There's all these feelings, there's so much dopamine flowing, so much oxytocin. You're creating this bond with someone for the first time, but you're still really young. And so you don't really have the chance to make that fully realized. You know, it ends up getting broken off somehow, some way. Maybe someone moves away, or you guys are just young, or someone goes off to college, whatever, and the two of you go your separate ways, right? Well, for someone who is secure or emotionally mature, they would continue to mature over the years. They would grow as their age grows, right? So when they get into their 20s, they're going to, you know, date people with similar interests. When they get into their 30s, they're going to date people with similar interests. When they finally find a wife and get married, they are going to be matured and ready for that type of relationship. They're not going to be longing for a teenage relationship because they are going to be perfectly happy and fulfilled with this type of relationship, right? They're ready for a more mature type of relationship. But for someone whose emotional maturity and growth was stunted at that age, in their like formative teenage years, and they never really continued to emotionally mature, they are still emotionally in that place. So what happens is they might, you know, meet this woman, get married, have a family, all these things. But if they're still at this teenage level in their brain, then when real life connection and responsibility and vulnerability and intimacy starts to happen in their life, and they have all these responsibilities, taking care of the kids, being there for their wife, paying the bills, paying the mortgage, whatever, all these things start to happen, well, they never really emotionally matured to be able to handle that or to have any coping mechanisms to be able to deal with daily life. So what do? They long to go back to that place in their formative years where they felt so happy, where everything was so thrilling and fun and no responsibility and all those good feelings of dopamine. They want to go back to that place. And it's not about the girl. They think it's about the girl. They think, oh, I just miss being with this specific girl. Like, she's the one for me. You know, my high school sweetheart, she's the one for me. It's not about the girl. It's about what she represents. She represents that specific period of their life when they were coming into themselves, they were forming their identity, and that was their first sense of love or of a relationship. And if you never mature past that, then you're always, you know, when you hit a tough time or you have no coping mechanisms, you're always going to go back to that place of wanting to be back in that feeling, in that type of dynamic. This was exactly how my dismissive avoidant ex left me, because he had reached out to a girl that he dated when he was 16. And I tried to explain to him, like, it's not about her. You understand that, right? It's like this whole forbidden fruit thing. Like, you're just getting these feelings coming up because things are hard in your life right now and you want to feel something. That's why you're feeling butterflies for her. It's not really about her. But it didn't matter what I said. He was already, you know, standing firm that he wanted to throw our relationship and our love away, which is fine, and he did that. But what men like that, who are extremely emotionally immature, don't understand is that going back to that person is unrealistic, because that person is not 16 anymore. They have matured. They have created a life on their own. And even if they are reaching back out to you and you guys are messaging back and forth or whatever, you're going to have a completely different relationship dynamic in your 30s or 40s or whatever than you did when you were 16. It's not going to be the same relationship that you had before. There's not going to be that freedom and lack of responsibility and feelings of dopamine and new, fresh love feeling. We're older now. We've matured. So you're going to have a relationship that symbolizes the age that you are at. There's going to be responsibility involved. There's going to be requirements for commitment and for intimacy. It's going to be a real relationship, just like the one you have now that you're throwing away.